Okay, everyone, so losers bracket. We're continuing with the Underdog Cup. We got Battlefield of Eternity as our starting map in the best of three. We got the Parkas on Drugs going up against Team Ascendant. And, well, this is actually going to be an interesting series because Team Ascendant has just been able to take down Club R, which was definitely one of the, I would say, stronger teams. Obviously, they got defeated and dropped down into the losers bracket. But generally speaking, I was quite surprised of how well Team Ascendant was doing. Also a team that I initially thought would have a longer winner bracket run. But somebody is going to make it to the grand final through losers bracket. So we'll see who that's going to be. Parkas on Drugs here, obviously, also represented. And yeah, should be a good one. Heroes can only be picked once. We have Division 2 and Division 3 teams in this tournament. At this point, honestly, I would assume that we have mainly Division 2 teams. I don't think that any of the Division 3 teams survive, but we had some amazing games. I'm actually blown away by this tournament. It's really weird to me. Normally, when you're looking at the amateur scene, you know, you don't expect comeback after comeback and one 3-mapper after another. So, yeah, it's a little bit wild. But okay, either way, we got Vala as our quick ban here as well. Battlefield of Eternity, obviously a map where you're centering a lot of your drafting around immortal damage typically. We have seen a lot of Vala arrow builds on this map, but even also the auto attacks are coming in here, so we'll see. And yeah, let's go. I'm certainly excited for it. We are still on the final weekend now, so we're going to get some good action, and then we're heading into the Nations Cup, which is going to be the big tournament at the beginning of the year, starting on the 31st of January, as I already highlighted a couple of times. Keep in mind that we're going to have live streams every Saturday and Sunday for 3 months at least. I would say until April, we're going to have live coverage there. And guys, we have teams signing up out of the wazoo. I would have been happy with 16 teams for the Nation Cup. I really would have been happy with 16 teams. I think currently we are at 26 teams, and there are potentially 2 more that are going to sign up. Today is the last day of the sign-ups, and it's just absolutely crazy. I can't wait for that event to start. It's going to be so damn good, and it's going to be awesome. Now, the Underdog Cup, obviously, also very fun, and I really enjoyed it. It has blown my own expectations out of the water, too. But I gotta say that yeah, the Nations Cup is definitely the dominant topic at this point in time. Now, as we're heading into the draft here with our first pick, we're actually getting a start off with Garrosh, and then Falstead and Anduin on the other side. So Falstead, obviously one of the big winners of the recent patches, and he, with Frequent Flyer, is currently one of the most picked and banned heroes that we have in the pool. This time together with Anduin. So let's see what they can pull off with that. When you're playing on Battlefield of Eternity, obviously you're traditionally less in a position where you can easily get stacks for your level 1. We've seen a couple of Falstead plays, for example, on Tomb of the Spider Queen, where he can easily rotate between lanes, and it's just absolutely brutal. So, yeah, we now got Chromie and Blaze that are taken quickly. Garrosh Blaze, obviously, quite strong frontline here too. With Chrome, you have nice damage from afar that he can dish out, not only against the Immortal, but also poke against the opponent. Assist the Immortal pushes a little bit, and just like, yeah, try to get that done. And yeah, we'll see what they can do with her. Also, by the way, quick disclaimer for everybody watching this on YouTube. I already talked about it on Twitch. I'm kind of fine, but I still have a bit of a cough. So if there are some weird sounds every now and then that's just it. 2 weeks, by the way. I did a normal training, a normal workout on the bike yesterday, and realized that my heart rate was continuously still 10 beats per minute higher than it's supposed to be, clearly indicating that I'm not quite fine yet. Today I did the same workout and it started to normalize again, so things are looking a bit better. But I've been literally sick for 2 weeks, and it's absolutely bonkers. So still a bit of a lingering cough, according to the doctor, that can last for another week easily, but it's getting better every single day. Obviously, when you're talking, when you're casting, this is really starting to go to your throat too. So if you hear some weird noises, either me trying to suppress a cough, muting the microphone in panic, and trying to not cough into your ears and kill every single headset user that is currently out there. So just as a little bit of a disclaimer as we're heading into the first game. For the Nations Cup, I expect to be 100% fine again, but yeah. We'll see. So, bans on Stukov and on Mirror. Then we get Johanna instead together with Malthael. And with Malthael, obviously, we would expect last right. So you can really start targeting Garrosh also with that. Jojo, I mean, there's no auto attacker yet on the other side, but the blind could really help depending on what exactly the Parkas are going to take here. Vala and Sylvanas both banned out, but there's still Jimmy. There's potentially Trash Tannis if they want to go for a triple frontline. And triple frontline it is, but they're going for Maiev instead. So we got Garrosh, Blaze, and Maiev on the one side, together with Chromie as a bit of range damage. And then over on the right side, Nerf Valera, who by the way played a pretty mean Vala in their series against Club R. So might be one of the reasons that they are attempting to get Valera for him later on in the game. For now, it's Genji, and that means Genji, Light Bomb engage with Anduin once more. And we're ready for map number 1, Battlefield of Eternity. On the left in blue, we got the Parkas, and Sean on Blaze. Yeah, on Garrosh. King Solomon is playing Rhaegar. We got Alpaca on Chromie, and Yizzy Fizzy on Maiev. Not quite sure what to make with that nickname, to be honest, but alright. Over on the right side, it's Team Ascendant with Ash on Malthael. I talked a little bit about the frequent flyer, but we're getting this honorable discharge right now. So this obviously a little bit more catering towards the map. So far I've seen mostly frequent flyer even on Battlefield of Eternity, but Yoka is mixing things up with Falstad, trying to adjust to the circumstances. We got Daxter on Joanna, Nerf Valera on Genji, and Mr. Taiko is playing Anduin. So let's go and let's see who is able to win game number 1 of the best of 3 series. Quick reminder, we are in the losers bracket, meaning whichever team loses the best of 3 is out of the tournament. The winner still has a chance to move not only on, but also make it all the way to the grand final. I'm not quite sure if Anduin just killed Falstad or if he just ensured his death, but he literally pulled him into the last hit of Chromie. Check this out real quickly. So, first of all, and Falstad is already in trouble to begin with. But then here comes the pull. Anduin literally just pulling him into it. I think he would have died anyways. If not for him just dodging to the side, he would have died regardless. But the image was just too good. So yeah, Mr. Taiko, he's coming in and he just drops the birdie. So Falstad gets murdered here. He's not the only one that dies though. Maiev goes down, so that's a kill for each team. But we're already off to a good start, so yeah, I'm already liking this. Now the bird, as already mentioned before, has gone into the dishonorable discharge here. So again, centered more around the hero damage and not so far reliant on minions that he has to take down. So that changes things slightly with the dynamic. If that's going to be enough or not, time will tell. Can be used as a tool later on when you apply that stun against Maiev, for example. And, well, in this case, down at the bottom of the map, as the red team locks in a mercenary camp at the top lane, we get another kill. It is Jojo that goes down. So the blue team is still pushing here. Genji is staying alone, is trying to help out a little bit. And Falstad, of course, still trying to stand in range here for a few additional hits. But this is oftentimes easier said than done. So, yeah, Falstad has to be careful here. Went into the static shield right now. Engages during the big fights from him could very well end up with the bird being targeted. And since there's Maiev with a tether straight into a potential jet propulsion, that's always dangerous. So, we'll see. All the way up at the top, we're still having Blaze in position. Of course, the first objective is now spawning, which means that we're going to get the first big immortal push coming. Yeah, Maiev now all of a sudden starting to move down to the bottom of the map too. Maybe trying to escort that lane out a bit further for the Shaman camp to do more damage at the structures. But the Immortal is spawning in 10. So, yeah, they gotta move towards the middle if they want to have a shot here. Already, a nice little catch. Chromie setting it up. Well done. The bird in trouble. And Falstad makes it out of the fight. Gets a heal from Anduin, and they're still all good here. So, the Parkas definitely off to a pretty decent start with the pressure that they're applying here. Also the defense from Blaze at the top. But now that the first objective is up, the question is still who will walk away with Immortal number 1. Falstad already moving out. Mr. Tiger again with another 1 centimeter pull over here. And yeah, Falstad trying a few more hits in. 6 stacks so far. Now, he needs 20 before he has the first damage increase. And then it's the 45 where he unlocks the second reward. So there's still a long way to go. But these are usually the situations where you should be able to get a bit of work done. So Falstad trying to move in. Jojo, though, gets tethered and killed. And that's kill number 3 for the blue team. Now, the red team was at least able to get some immortal damage into play, at the top mostly. But right now we have Malthael as the sole defender, trying to hold on to the situation, and he gets targeted too, and that seems to be another kill for the team in blue. The Parkers by now with 4 kills to 1, and they have an early level 7 talent, so really accumulating a lot of small advantages that should help them here. Anduin throws a little bit of light at the Immortal. That's only going to help him so far, and as you would expect, the blue team, they get the halftime show. After all the kills that they got, they were able to go for the halftime show. Now maybe a shot to immediately go for the Immortal and lock the whole thing in. Obviously, we have some counter plays from Team Ascendant over on the right side, but it's just going to be a matter of time. The damage output is just a little bit too much. The blue team should be able to get this. It is a little bit closer than initially expected, but still, they get Immortal number 1 and the shield out there. By now, level 7 talents are available for Team Ascendant, which at least is going to help them with the defense. So that's going to be useful. Sins exposed for Jojo, and for Falstead we have the continuation of the Lightning Rod build with Thunderstrike now. So trying to get more and more damage out here, and obviously working on those stacks still. Falstead is at the bottom of the map currently against Blaze, so might have an opportunity to get a few there. Still 7 away from the first quest reward. And the rest of the team defending at the top. The bird coming over as Malthael takes at the bottom of the map. Here comes Chromie with her ult. Yeah, but they can't get the kill. They can maybe get a kill over here, though, on Johanna again. And this is now, I believe, the 3rd time that she is destroyed. Jojo down for the 3rd time in a row. And that 4 doesn't look too hot either. So, the blue team with tons of pressure here. And Team Ascendant is really having some trouble. It's 5 kills to 1. 1 level advantage currently for the blue team. And, yeah, it's going to get a bit tricky. Level 10 always changes dynamic in the game no matter what, so that might change things a little bit. We'll see how much, though. For now, I guess it's more than fair to say that the blue team has not only taken a lead, but is going to extend that further in just a second, thanks to the fact that they're going to get themselves some level 10 abilities. That could help them to maybe push for the structure at the bottom of the map. They're already starting to move in here with a few more of the heroes. But if not, it should at a minimum allow them to get a lead on the next Immortal. By now we get with level 10 Decimate, Bunker obviously. Falls out 15 stacks. Yeah, if you have these pinnacle reward heroes now, you really need to get your stacks together. You need to make sure that they're able to scale into the late game. And that's getting a bit tricky. So once again, they're trying to make a play for Jojo. This time they miss out on the kill. But they are still pushing that bot lane aggressively. Malthael wasn't even with the team though. So instead he just moved over and made sure that he got them the next camp. Or at least started it up, I should say. So we'll see here. Now, down at the bottom of the map, Falstead obviously still holding the position a little bit longer. So far, good for him. Yeah. And all the way up at the top, we still got Blaze sitting tight. Let's see what they can do with this right now. I mean, for the time being, it's level 10 versus level 10, and that gives us also Tormented Souls. So no last rites for Malthael. So yeah, that's not a thing here. Then in the meantime, we are still having Malthael down at the bottom of the map dealing with the Shaman camp. And over here up at the top, it's all centering now around the poke against the red team's Immortal. Mainly Chromie coming to play here with all of the range that she brings in, of course. So she's able to do a fair amount in all of this. But the red team is now in a position where they can finally fight back. So it's level 10 versus level 10 abilities. And that certainly is giving a few more options over to the team. Then again, oh, that was a good one. Nicely done here with the Ancestral. Falstead with the Gust helping out a bit too, but it also isolated Maiev for just a second. So Maiev gone. Then again, Jojo is also dead, so it's a 4 versus 4, and Malthael tees up another kill, this time on Malthael. Sorry, Garrosh teed up the kill on Malthael, and they even got the birdie, who just barely completed his quest reward here too. So, yeah, so far, things are looking pretty okay for the blue team, especially with them saving Blaze, which in and of itself is a little bit insane. I mean, honestly, that looked like it should not have been a thing. So Blaze surviving there is a bit crazy, to tell you the truth. But hey, he made it, and now they're winning the halftime show with ease. So job well done. Down at the bottom of the map, yeah, still the 1v1, but with 9 kills to 2 and still a 1-level advantage, the situation is still very, very solid for the Parkers. Now, they haven't won this Immortal yet, but with the red team essentially not doing any damage against their opponents, you would expect it only to be a matter of time, especially since they're now very aggressively attacking the top side here and trying to take this one out. Obviously, Team Ascendant is trying to limit the damage just a little bit and do so far a decent job on this, but they are not able to completely stop the Immortal or anything of the sorts. So with that said, we now have all the way down at the bottom of the map the next attack incoming, and this is likely going to be, I mean, let's be honest, the end of the fort. The thing is already down to 50% of its HP, and the Immortal has a solid shield here. So this one is going to hurt them a ton. So, we got 19,000 damage for Falstad and for Genji, 30,000 for Chromie. The red team, they need kills. I mean, they need to somehow bring this back, but they are now down in talent once again. And the timing, of course, couldn't be worse. Just as the opponent pushes with the Immortal, you're down a talent, you're down more than a level, and the forts are both destroyed, which means that the catapult pressure is now also going to increase as the game continues. It is a tough situation here, for sure. And, yeah, it's going to get dicey. The wall's certainly going to be opened up down here. And we'll see how much more they can do. The light bomb engage, maybe now. Ancestral out. And they're able to potentially even get a kill on MEMEBLADE. She barely gets away, but not for long. Should still fall here, but they're chasing way too hard. Falstad flies in, gets killed immediately. Really unfortunate situation for the birdie. And yes, Rhaegar dies, but still there is 4 heroes that fall. And now the keep is wide open. What an escape from IF here. Falstad flying in, trying to force the fight with the Gust, missing that a bit too, and then all of a sudden it's just an utter slaughter as basically everybody on the side of Team Ascendant is getting eliminated. Now we have the keep at the bot lane destroyed, the wall at the top has also taken damage, catapults are pushing, there's a 2-level advantage for the blue team, and this just hurts. They got absolutely murdered on this one, and yeah, brutal. Absolutely brutal. No doubt about this. This was a big problem. The Parkers, well, how are they going to deal with it now? Are they going to just simply push for 16, get the next objective, and then try to push for the top keep? Or are we seeing, with the next talent kicking in, even more aggressive pressure through the top lane without the objective being used? They could steal the camp away, or at least they tried, but they were just a bit too late in order to make that work. Falstad, by the way, is still sitting at only 22 stacks, so he doesn't really have a whole lot to go for him here. 22 stacks is just not enough to get you to a point where you can all of a sudden turn the tables on the opponent. We have him still more than 20 stacks away from the second quest reward, and that's just too much. 12 minutes into the game, it's a tough one. Juggernaut plating is in. We got the Seasoned Soldier, also the Earthgrasp Totem, essentially completing the totem build for Rhaegar, so even more CC that they can utilize. The red team is trying to get their experience back. They hold Genji at the bottom of the map for the extra minion waves that they're trying to take down. And while the blue team was able to open up the topside wall at least a bit, their main attention is now, of course, on the Immortal itself. Could, I guess, still go for the Shaman camp, and this becomes the next target. So they're indeed moving in for it to try and claim that. And, yep, they're able to get it. So, good for them. Take this one with ease. And in the meantime, the Immortals have spawned. And now it's, of course, time to see what they can do here. Again, it's Chromie that pokes from afar. They're already setting up Garrosh to attempt some additional kills. And Malthael pops an early Tormented Souls. That's not going to be able to do too much for him from the looks of it. Maiev, though, needs an Ancestral. Gets it from Rhaegar. And the red team is starting to fall low again. Jojo on the run, trying to escape. Malthael, the same is true. Johanna falls first. Malthael dies second. At least Maiev gets killed as Genji comes in for a kill. But the situation is still dire for the red team. Genji gets caught next. Light Bomb is still able to Swift Strike out, but that also means 0 additional aggression coming from Team Ascendant. And by now we got the Parkas with a halftime show victory. Easy one at that. No problem for them. And of course, the main question, how much more are they going to be able to do here? Already we're seeing down at the bottom of the map, for example, the camp eliminated as the red team is finally getting the level 16 talents, but this might be too little too late, considering that we're now looking at the Parkas with another massive immortal, this time with a huge shield over here. So yeah, this is looking extremely well for them. So let's see how much more they can do through that top lane, because now we're talking keep once again, of course. So they're going to try and take the keep out, and if they can get some kills with that, the core would be wide open. The one thing they don't have this time is a talent advantage. No level 20 talent for them just yet, so that's not a tool that they can use here, but they should still be able to do tons of damage, and they are looking for kills. They're already angling for them as we speak. Garrosh is coming in, gets the flip, goes for the stun, Tormented Souls, Light Bomb engaged by Genji. And still Maiev at the forefront with a disc that she throws out, buying a bit of time. Falstad dropping the gust, attempting to save the target, but the Immortal is just wailing away in the meantime, and it's just taking everything out here. 15 kills to 4 all in all. The keep is gone. The Immortal lost the shield, but here comes the bunker from the Parkas and the Ancestral. They're still trying to go for the next blow here, for the victory on Battlefield of Eternity, and it's looking better and better for them as they drop Johanna, the main tank gone for Team Ascendant, and the shield on the core also eliminated. The shield gone, and it is not looking pretty. Game number 1 goes to the Parkas. They made it happen. They take the lead in the best of 3 series here in the losers bracket of the Underdog Cup. GG. We're going to head in game number 2 in a second. Guys, if you enjoy the content, if you like the coverage here, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. It really helps to spread the videos to people that were interested in Heroes of the Storm in the past and might rejoin the game. So spread the love a little bit, help to promote the games here, like and subscribe, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the series. Alright, Brax's holdout. Second map, Sylvanas gets banned. Parkas with a 1-0. 10 heroes that have been played on the previous map obviously cannot be played again, so those are out. We still have Vala in play, which I kind of point out in the context of me having seen some pretty solid plays from Team Ascendant with Vala. But obviously on the last map they were really struggling quite a lot. Battlefield of Eternity, not really their map. Parkas just playing it too clean. And also heroes like Falstad, for example, never really getting to a stack amount that would have helped them, you know, to get lots and lots of damage out and turn the tides. But interestingly enough, Team Ascendant is actually sticking with that ban pattern. They're banning Vala again, they're banning Sylvanas. I would have expected them maybe even going for Vala first pick if that's something that they think they can leverage here. As I said before, they played a lot of Vala in previous matches, but right now, even though they have first pick, they're just simply shutting this down. Now in Braxis, you want to have a lot of wave clear, of course, too, so that's another factor here. Gul'dan and other mages usually then become very high priority picks, but this is still kind of interesting. We have bans on Zeratul and Hanzo, but this continuous ban on Sylvanas and Vala, we'll see if that works out for Team Ascendant. I could have seen them pick one of them first, but obviously they have different priorities here. So let's see what we're going to get from them. We are now down to, I believe, the last 5 teams or so in the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. And we get the Haka as our first pick, so literally running the top lane first with our first priority. And on Braxis, you could go still Rexa. Rexa also fantastic hero for Dragonshire, for Braxis holdout. But let's see what the Parkas are now going to do here. Very heavy focus on range damage dealer, sustain damage more so than anything else. But I would still expect that we're going to get Gul'dan from one of the teams at a minimum. And another question, of course, is if somebody is going to try and just set up a super strong 4-man at the bottom of the map. Junkrat, another good pick. Diablo to bully people around. And yeah, for the red team, they are really the ones that need to come in with a bit of an idea how they can break the pattern from what we've seen in game number 1. Because the Parkas just looked a bit too powerful there. As I've said plenty of times, by the way, though, since we are looking at the amateur scene, most of the players here are around Diamond to Master. We have the occasional Plat jumping in too, but Diamond to Master is the average level, I'd say. And it can still mean that you are sometimes limited more so to 2-3 heroes that you're really comfortable with, and once those are gone, you will struggle more to really have a huge impact in the game itself. When we're talking about the top level scene, about the semi-pros, and obviously the situation is different. Usually their hero pools are extremely big. This is only game number 2, so I don't think it makes too much of a difference just yet for any one of the teams, but sometimes you can see that a player is maybe not quite as familiar with the hero as you would expect them to be. Gul'dan getting banned now as well, so yeah, they're really just banning damage out. The entire list here is just damage getting banned. I had Gul'dan pegged as a sure pick for one of the teams, but of course with the Parkas now getting rid of him, that's not going to happen anymore. Muradin and Brightwing first for Team Ascendant gives them a bit more mobility on the map. They have now Global, they have Muradin that can traverse terrain, and then also Brightwing, who essentially can do the same. But, well, here we go. We get Suljin, so some single target damage that they're banning out too. And how's the blue team now reacting? Junkrat is obviously pretty solid. So this is going to help them against not only on the lane, also with just a simple control that he brings in and displacement. But once that your opponent really has a good Zerg wave going, you have with Junkrat a lot of damage that he can throw out there as well. Here comes Rexa. Already speculated about him being a pick for the top lane for the team. And we get Whitemane for them heals. Still need a bit more damage, and we could see, of course, a mage, but time will tell. With everybody just banning out as many damage dealers as they can. Yeah, we'll see. But the final 2 picks for the red team. Again, we need damage, so moment of truth here. Let's see what they can do. Phoenix, and we get Cassia. Now that brings us to the final pick. Phoenix also obviously quite mobile. This is one of the things on Brax's holder. If you can traverse terrain, this can always help you with quick rotations between the beacons and helps you with a bit more control. But after we now have Junkrat for damage very early for the Parkas. Final pick. What's it going to be? They have a chance to make this a 2-0 and move on to the next round of the losers bracket to send the Team Ascendant packing. And they're using Khaldor to get their mage. And with that, we're set for map number 2, everybody. Brax's holdout, Team Ascendant against the Parkas. The blue team over on the left with on Diablo. We got Shan on Rexa, King Solomon with Whitemane, Alpaca on Kalthas, and Yizzy Fizzy with Junkrat. Still want to know the story behind that name. It just feels a little bit too weird and random, but there has to be some kind of story. Over on the right side, we got Team Ashe on the Haka. We got Team Ascendant with Ashe on the Haka. There we go. Nerf Valera is playing Phoenix. We get Duxtier on Muradin, Mr. Tycho on Brightwing, and Yoka is playing Cassia. Obviously, our top lane, there's going to be Rexa against Dehaka, as you would expect. And then we have down here at the bottom of the map the 4-man kicking in for the 2 teams. Whitemane on level 1 with Pity the Frail. And over here we get Mana Addict. Honestly, every single time that I see Whitemane with that talent and I see Pity the Frail, I have to think about Mr. T. Pity the Fool. Like, I don't know, am I the only one where that makes an immediate connection in your head? I can't be the only person out there. Every single time I read the talent name in my head, I have just immediately Mr. T's voice going strong here, going full A-team on me. So it's kind of one of the things that makes Whitemane a pretty interesting character for me, even though that has nothing to do with, you know, the actual Nexus lore or anything of the sorts. But hey, if you go for talent names like this, that's just what happens. Now, seems like the red team wants to invade camps rather than try and take their own. But Diablo! Yeah, a lot of terror on my ass. That little weak kitty over there gets murdered, and now Team Ascendant is taking over the camp. So, very, very nice start right there for them. They decided to be a bit more aggressive in game number 2, and at least for now it's working. They stole the opponent's camp away. It's always a bit of a risk that you take when you're going for your opponent's camp instead of taking your own. If you fail, then you just wasted a bit of time and got nothing for it. In this case, though, it worked. They got a kill, they get the camp, and therefore walk away with structural damage against the opponent's wall. Beacons popping up. This is something where Rexa should easily win this against Dehaka at the top. Rexa obviously can maintain experience on the lane and then also get the objective at the same time, thanks to him just splitting Misha off. So if he plays that properly, that shouldn't be an issue. As long, of course, as nobody moves topside to help out Dehaka. And that's exactly what we just saw with Phoenix. So the blue team needs to retake at the bottom of the map and does. Nearly gets a kill on Muradin too. But now that Phoenix is on his way back down to the bottom of the map, Rexa needs to retake that beacon. So Misha needs to start to make a move and get that beacon control back. Instead gets killed and is down for another 15 seconds. That puts more pressure onto the blue team's bot lane. But as I already said, for Rexa, this really shouldn't be a problem. This shouldn't be an issue. Once that Misha is back, this is an easy one right there now. Yeah, I'm honestly not quite sure how exactly Shan is currently playing this here. All you gotta do is really just keep Misha going back onto the point. Rexa is going to win this lane eventually as a result. Now obviously with how the situation is unfolding right now, a little bit of time for that is needed, but eventually Dehaka is going to be forced back onto the lane. Currently though, this is not working out for the Parkas at all. Team Ascendant gets the big Zerg wave, wins the first objective with 100 to 16%. 16% wave is, by the way, always just that little bit of pity that you get when you didn't get any progress at all. So it's the bare minimum. And this is not going to do anything at the top. Rexa is actually forced back to also Hearth. And now down at the bottom of the map, even with Junkrat and Kel'Thas, this is going to cost them a fort. So this is a bit of a disaster here. Team Ascendant is absolutely crushing this early game, and they honestly shouldn't. Phoenix splitting to the top lane and helping out Dehaka makes sense for the initial claim on the beacon, but Rexa is kind of misplaying that lane a little bit. He should be doing way better than he currently does. And even the 4-man at the bottom of the map is just struggling way too much. Guys, we are 4 minutes into the game. Not only is the fort at the bot lane down, but in addition to that, we're now having a massive play towards the wall of the keep at the bot lane. That's 4 minutes in. So, yeah, 4 minutes in, and wow, this is, yeah, quite something. But alright, anyways, Muradin with a Stormbolt as he comes in. And then down at the bottom of the map, well, we're still having Brightwing hold experience. Is obviously a lead now for the red team too. Keep in mind the mercenary camp was stolen away earlier as well. Level 7 now with the diverted power. Yeah, we got Feeding Frenzy over here. Losing 1 fort is, I mean again, it's kind of a bit annoying when it happens with the first wave this early. But then at the same time, it's not really that big. You still have a way to get yourself back into the game. Let's put it like this. Misha gets murdered again. So, yeah, absolutely no mercy being shown here by Team Ascendant. Very different game from what we experienced on Battlefield of Eternity. Diablo now trying to move to the top and an attempt to bully people a little bit. They're getting their own camp down at the bottom of the map, of course, as well. Dibbles trying to get stacks together for his baseline. So that's the next one. And, yeah, 5 manning the top lane, essentially, right now. They got CC. If they chain this up properly, they have some tools here. So, some decent damage against Muradin, for example. Spread the bombs, baby! Spread it! Wer hat noch nicht, wer will noch mal? Alright, so. They're getting a little bit of a fire lit under their butts. But the blue team is now trying to be aggressive at the top lane. They're spreading a lot of Kel'Thas love here. And it nearly cost Cassia her life. So finally there is some pressure from the blue team. But the objective is coming up, and then of course they have to prove that again. There's still a 1 level advantage for their opponents. Team Ascendant is on level 9 already. Which means that there's always a shot to get that early level 10. And maybe leverage that to get another objective. Muradin getting bullied a bit. Lots and lots of damage coming from Kel'Thas, by the way, right now. Alpaca is doing a ton here. Alpaca is just YOLOing that out time and time again. But we have the beacons now up. Dehaka is going for the bottom beacon, and the blue team has to try and take at the top. They again lose full control here. So they're trying to take late, But there is already progress for the opponent as they're finally claiming the top here. Rexa is busy at the bottom of the map with the mercenary camp, but now he needs to try and ensure that he takes control of this slowly as he pushes out the next minion wave. At the top though, the experience for Team Ascendant is just progressing further ahead, which means that level 10 abilities are now ready, so very likely they're going to give this one up. Muradin. Oh, we got the Cracker! It's beam time, baby! They go for the beam. Brrr, and nearly got the kill, but they can get 1 and 2 in the follow-up as both Whitemane and Diablo get murdered. So, more progress on the beacon, and Rexa still struggling at the bottom of the map. Shan is holding the lane, but that's all that he's doing, getting the experience. He absolutely zero progress towards the beacon itself. Dehaga is holding on to that. Since they still have level 10 abilities, he obviously has the edge here too. And this is going to be another full Zerg wave for Team Ascendant. They're going to get the entire thing. So, fort number 2, very likely about to be eliminated now. It's going to be a top lane push that we are going to see next. Level 10 at least ready for the Parkas to defend here. Pyro? Yeah, I'm not so sure about the Pyro Blast in that context, to be honest. I think Phoenix might have helped them a bit more with general zone control. But they are trying to lock in the Pyro damage again. Riptire already to clear the wave, at least partially. But the fort will still fall. So they're doing what they can here. Rexa is helping out too, trying to pressure Phoenix. Where's that Pyro when you need it? Pyro time, baby! And there it is. Yeah, that didn't do anything. But they got 2 kills. They got Cassia and they got Muradin. So while they didn't get the kill on the intended target, they were still able to do some work. Obviously, Pyro fans are now going to say like, yeah, Khaldor, but you don't understand. This was never meant to kill him. They just wanted to have him out of the fight. Oh, and talking about out of the fight, Dehaga goes down. Guys, we're finally seeing some signs of life of the Parkas. They got 3 kills. Kill count is even. Structurally, they're still screwed, but hey, at least they were able to make that happen here. So, the Pyro Blast... value, no value. I think it's a little bit of a weird one. It's Schrödinger's Pyroblast. You don't really know if it's going to be valuable or not until you see the impact. And then you can still argue that they at least got the hero out of the fight and were fighting with a numbers advantage or something of the sorts. But now Cassia is on the warpath down here and takes down Junkrat. The red got junked and the red team still on their way to another potential kill. Muradin! No way! Brightwing to the rescue. Okay. Level 13. Boy, they're so far ahead right now in experience. They got the level 13 talent. The red team with 40,000 damage on Phoenix. Yeah, he went brrr and he got the top damage as a result. And then we got 30,000 for Junkrat and we got 30,000 for Kel'Thas. Kel'Thas hasn't died yet either. Yeah, Dehaga, not here. Diablo. Alright, they go for Phoenix. Stun, 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 stun. Fire breath. Ugh. And he's dead. Phoenix is dead. Brightwing. Pyro, baby! Ho-ho-ho-ho! Big kill! The Pyro value right there. And Muradin is dead too. So, level 13 versus level 13. Team Ascendant not happy with the development there. I can already tell you that much. They were actually looking initially like they would walk away with an easy victory. But what we got instead is a comeback. The blue team. Now with the fission bomb over here. Team Ascendant was already very happy to spread those living bombs. And now Kel'Thas is trying to help him to spread the love a little bit further. We got a chance to go for the objective, and Rexa is claiming control at the top. Yeah, the blue team really needs to make a play for the beacons right now. I mean, this is what eventually is going to win or lose you the game, I guess. There's also a boss up, obviously, which could play a role. Kel'Thas, all alone down at the bottom of the map with the mercenary camp still pushing through the lane, is sorely needed too. Brightwing is trying to play this out. Kel'Thas moving towards the top. They definitely need the gravity lapse. In comes the play for Rexa, and he makes it out. And here comes the brrrr, and Rexa is apparently a bit of a death wish. Still alive somehow. I don't know how Muradin didn't nail him with another Stormbolt here. Rexa is on the run, and everybody on the red team is low. White main falls. Can they get the counter kill? And the answer is yes, they can. The Obama moment right there as they're dropping Cassia and Muradin. Another lick. Diablo trying to follow up on Kel'Thas. Even the boss is trying to help out, but there's double control on the beacon now for the red team. Honestly, the Parkas, they just need to go for the objective. Somebody needs to explain it to them. I'm not quite sure if they already got the memo on this one. Topside fight continues. Junkrat! And he's dead. Junkrat is dead, and Ya goes 99999 as he dies to her. Yeah, he's not making it. Diablo will at least be back, but it seems that the blue team is a little bit allergic to Zerg waves. Terran or Pros fans, that's the only explanation that I have. 8 kills to 8, but it's again the red team that easily moves down to the bottom of the map to grab themselves the double beacon, and they're gonna get another big Zerg wave. You could argue that at least this time the Parkas have a bit more progress. Oh, and they're actually trying to stop this. Alright, so this is gonna be contested. Maybe they can get more, but it's already 90% for the red team. So, yep, there's the shot, and Rexa is still alive. Misha is gone, but they have control, and here comes the Riptide of Hell, and the Pyro attempt, but this was not enough damage to seriously threaten Muradin. Diablo goes down, Brightwing saves Muradin, and the red team is about to take control again. They got level 16, and they're leveraging the talent advantage here, and they send the Parkas back once again. Whiteman is also dead, so this is the big opportunity right here, right now, to do some solid work through the bot lane. Junkrat is also murdered. I mean, this is getting from bad to worse. 70,000 damage from Phoenix that we're getting. So Nerf Valera with massive amount of damage done. And now they're pushing for the bottom keep, and guys, they might be able to end the game here. Especially, of course, if they are somehow able to get themselves a few more kills. But this keep is already gone. There is some damage done up here at the top, but obviously not a whole lot, so this is not really working. Yeah. And Diablo's gone. And I guess that's game. I guess we're going to game number 3. The Parkas, highly successful on Battlefield of Eternity. But when we're talking about Braxis, their map choice, by the way, this was just not happening. Good job by Team Ascendant. They forced the third map, and we are heading straight for the final map of the Best of 3 series. GG. Coming up next, we have game number 3 for you guys. Before we go, a big shout out to everybody that is supporting the channel on patreon.com/Khaldor. Really appreciate the support, guys. Thank you very, very much. If you want to support the channel, if you want to support our efforts to keep the Heroes of the Storm esports scene live with all of the events and tournaments that we're hosting, then please consider to check out patreon.com/Khaldor and support the channel there. It's the best way to support all of the things that we're currently doing for the scene and plan to do in the future. With that being said, enjoy the next game of the series. Game number 3, Volskaya Foundry. So, ladies and gentlemen, Parkas on drugs against Team Ascendant. And, yeah. I have to admit that I expected the Parkas to do a little bit better on the second map than they did. Mostly because it was their map choice. Now, obviously, Team Ascendant came in and got the first pick, but I really expected the Parkas. As I said, Braxis is not the typical standard map that you just YOLO out, right? So when I see a Braxis pick, I expect somebody that says like, hey, we are good on this map, we feel comfortable on this map. And they looked absolutely uncomfortable playing it. So, yeah, that was a little bit crazy. But okay, we'll see. For now, what we're getting is obviously game 3 with bans that again feature Vala. So Team Ascendant for some reason has just decided that they just don't want to go up against her, and apparently they are not willing to pick her first if they have first pick, which is by the way not the case on this third one now. So there's that. But yeah, we're getting a ban on Zul for the rotation. Volskaya has the map, so we could see also some late game heroes. I mean, you can get the Nazebo pick, for example. And then on top of that, we have Sylvanas getting eliminated once again, similar to what we've seen previously from Team Ascendant. They stick to their ban pattern here. 20 heroes are now unavailable because they've been played before, so they can't be played again. And let's see what the Parkas are doing this time. Certainly would expect them to go a little bit back to the basics here. The funny thing about Team Ascendant is, by the way, that in the previous series they also lost the first map and then they won 2 in a row. Just saying. So they seem to be a team that feels quite comfortable going from behind, just cleaning house and starting the comeback. But we get Tyrael as a first pick. Could be one of those judgment plays that we've now seen a few times too. So, yeah. Falset has, of course, already been played. And there goes Arthas and Nezebo. I talked already about our boy here, Nezebo, as a pick for that late game. Now, with that, we're now having, Arthas as the main tank going up against Tyrael here. So, there's that. Question still remaining, what exactly we're getting with Tyrael as a combo, because I would expect Judgment, I would expect them to be aggressive. You can obviously play Sanctification here too. Leoric plus Malfurion, so they already got their side lane locked in, they have their heals there too. With Malfurion, there's a chance that we get Tracer, maybe Team Ascendant is even banning her out. Tyrael, Malfurion and Tracer is obviously always like the holy trinity right there. And I'm kind of curious. Because if you really, really wanted that Tracer, if you wanted that triple wombo of Tyrael, Malfurion, Tracer, you would have picked her immediately and not dropped Leo into that mix. Are they banning her? And no, they're banning Zul'jin. So they're getting rid of Zul'jin here first. Tracer, technically, therefore, still up. And with Arthas and Nezebo already taken, what exactly are the Parkas eliminating here? Nezebo wants to go into the late game, of course. So, yeah. But, well, with that, what is the final ban? Could they play Medivh? Having Medivh would actually be pretty crazy too. I always liked Arthas plus Medivh because Arthas just has a couple of problems with engaging and disengaging from fights, and Medivh just instantly gets rid of a lot of those issues. Now, obviously, you have Malfurion against you already, which means that he can drop a root onto the portal whenever it comes out. And it's not a typical pick that you see taken a lot in Heroes Lounge games, but still. Could potentially be an option for them. Just saying. Gives you vision, keeps Nezebo a little bit safer. Ooh, Arthas is a side laner. Varian coming in. Okay, so we get Deckard Cain and Varian. Arthas is going to be side laning against Leoric. Now the question, on the other hand, whether or not the blue team is going to go for Tracer with the heroes that they already have. That would make sense. The bans that we're seeing against the Parkas with Vala, Sylvanas, and Zul'jin just banned over and over again, clearly targeting their sustained damage dealer. And we get Zagara instead. Okay, triple frontline. Imperius comes in, and we got Zagara. So, let's go. Let's see what they're doing here. I'm curious. No Tracer would have worked well for them, but they go for the triple front line. And we get Zagara on top of this. For the red team, if they win it... Again, whichever team wins here moves on to the next round of the losers bracket. Should be the loser bracket final, I believe. And then, well, we are having the loser of this one drop out, of course. Sergeant Hammer. It's hammer time. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, final map. Let's go. We got the Parkas against Team Ascendant. The Parkas on the left, everybody, with Shan on Leoric. We got King Solomon on Malfurion, Alpaca with Zagara. We got Yeezy Fizzy on Imperius, and yeah, on Tyrael. So the triple front line for the blue team. And it actually gets interesting over on the side of Team Ascendant, because we get High King's Quest on level 1 for Varian. Played by Nerf Valera, not the tank player. I guess we're going Smash. Nerf Valera and Varian, we got Ashe on Nezebo with the Toad build. Daxter on Arthas, still the main tank from the looks of it. Mr. Taiko on Deckard Cain, and Yoka is playing Sergeant Hammer. So, the level 4 talent is going to be interesting for Varian, but from the looks of it, we're not going to get Taunt. It's going to be Smash. I am not a fan of that decision, by the way, whatsoever. You already have 2 good damage dealers behind you. You have Nezebo for the late game, and you have Sergeant Hammer. In which universe do you need Smash or MEMEBLADEs? Like, I would have way more liked them going into Varian main tank with Taunt and then Arthas as a side laner. given the comp that they're playing here and what it's attempting to do, that makes way more sense to me. That extra damage that you might be getting through Smash is absolutely not worth it. So this is a really weird choice to me. We'll see if it works out for Team Ascendant, but it's definitely them taking a bit of a risk that I personally did not think they would go for. So, as is right now, we're having the attack at the bottom of the map playing out. Leo is now rotating against Nazeebo, who is obviously interested in getting a lot of stacks together for the baseline. Oh, Imperious gets killed and the Ragdoll kicked across the map. Zagara with decent damage output here too. Wondering honestly if she's gonna go into Serrated Spines here, given that she has a triple front line in order to help them. But yeah, we'll see. Either way, with that now said and done, we're having obviously the first few stacks also coming together for Arthas, who's going straight into a straight with level 1. Sergeant Hammer with the advanced artillery over here. And yeah, we'll see. Level 4, as I already said, is going to be interesting and is honestly what I'm looking forward to the most right now. Because I'm still very, very curious what exactly they're going to do with this. Right now, we're having in the middle of the map, the red team just gathering up. Zagara, by the way, going into the Medusa Blade, so more about the wave clear than the individual target damage that she could have opted for instead. 24 stacks for Nazeebo. Here comes the level 4 for the opponent, and of course, the moment of truth. Are we going to get Smash? Oh my god! What? Nope. Twin Blades? Guys, somebody send some help over to Nerf Valera, because I think he had a stroke. I really think we need an ambulance here. Something is not going alright. They actually went into MEMEBLADEs. You gotta be kidding me. Why? Just why? Like, why? Somebody explain to me why. Like, literally, when we have a bounty tournament, we can't even pay people to try this in later rounds. That's how bad it is. Look what they're doing here. Icy Talons now as well. They're going hyper aggressive with everything. Their main tank, Arthas, is going into an Icy Talons build, so it's not even going to sustain or anything of the sorts. Usually then Rune Tap on level 7. We have Varian somehow thinking that it's a great idea to go into MEMEBLADEs. They're going mad damage here. They have a lineup that already has 2 really solid damage dealers with Sarge and Hammer, and then with Nazeebo, who's able to just drop it in the late game with Vile Infection, and they think that they need a strong front line and essentially play a double bruiser front line and not really a tank. I mean, they are really risking a lot here, and I don't understand why. I think that entire composition would be way stronger if they just would play this a bit more tank heavy, but we'll see. Maybe just the raw damage output and them attempting to overrun the opponent is going to work for them. I have my doubts. I think if anything, then Nazeebo can save them in the late game, but time will tell. For now, I would assume that the Parkers are actually quite happy with the choices. The one thing that the Parkers are not going to like is how quickly Nazeebo is able to get his baseline progressed. Blood Ritual now on level 4. Again, Rune Tap as expected. And then we're getting the Hover Siege mode plus also Second Wind for Varian. And Varian is wild. I mean, we got stuns here. Well, we got a couple of roots and stuns, nothing too insane. Still trying to push Nazeebo a little bit. Zagara obviously needs to pressure. That's one of the main things that they're going to try and do. We have in the middle of the map still the Protector doing some work, and Sergeant Hammer is currently dealing with this. But topside, there's even more action now happening because Zagara is obviously a monster here. So she's doing good damage against that fort. Shouldn't overstay their welcome, but they are doing well. They get a lead in experience as a result, and structurally they started to pull ahead a bit. Now, Arthas is at 8 stacks currently. Varian is working his High King's quest, and I am still shocked by the fact that we actually have MEMEBLADEs. It's called MEMEBLADEs for a reason. What are you boys thinking? Varian just whacking away with those. I gotta admit that if you're playing a quick match with a couple of buddies, for example, it was always amazing. Back when Tassadar was just a shield bot, you could get Tassadar shields on Varian, and then an Abathur had too, and all of a sudden Varian just was a killing machine, which was just funny as hell. Never really meant for any top competitive play, of course, but kinda amusing nonetheless. Over here, though, if you wanna win, that's essentially you giving yourself a handicap. The big tool for them is gonna be Nazeebo, who just died in the mid lane. So Nazeebo going down slows his stacking, but I think at this point we can already say that he will get to the Viral Infection threshold. And then it's the big question whether or not that's going to be enough. Now, we got Maw in, we got the Entomb. Judgment, that was to be expected. Can also be followed up, obviously, by the Wrath of Imperius. And they're starting to get aggressive at the top lane again in an attempt to take down that fort. Zagara is going to work some damage in here as well. Judgment! And, yeah, Sergeant Hammer just shrugs it off. Not impressed. But they go for Arthas, and he makes it. Gets Syndragosa, Arthas gets killed. They're just going full aggression. Not even picking army here. Like, seriously, they're not taking anything defensive. It's just all-out carnage attempts from Team Ascendant. I don't know. I really don't know about this. Let's see if it works. The Parkas should have tools to deal with this. But yeah, Arthur's just simply saying, okay, we're going to Syndragosa this as well. Then on top of that, we now have Nazeebo with Ravenous Spirit. 3 kills to 2 right now. And it's just wild. I mean, the picks, honestly, in Talons is just absolutely wild. And the topside fort is soon going to fall. By now, we have a bit of an attack coming in from Arthas again, but it's a 1 versus 1 for only a short period of time. Because, well, as you expect, the Parkas are just moving in and they're dropping Arthas again. Even with them initially missing a couple of CC tools, that wasn't a problem. Oh, down here though, look at that. Leo got killed by the MEMEBLADEs. Yeah, that is a meme and a half. On top of that, more aggression. Judgment! And the follow-up on it as they're dropping or trying to drop Nazeebo, who gets saved from the looks of it by the Kain. Maybe not. Nope. Nazeebo is gone, and so is the topside fort. So, the fort is... Guys, can you please take this down? Thank you. Fort is gone. 5 kills to 3 and an early level 13 talent for the Parkas. But the blue team is on a bit of a timer. I mean, I've said this before and I say it again. Nazeebo is not going to have any problems with the build that he chose and the way that he plays it to get to the threshold of 175 on his baseline. So he's going to get this 100%. The question in this game is more so, how much damage can the Parkas do until the red team hits level 20? And what are we going to get afterwards? Leo, a little bit of a suicide wish against 3. And Varian wants the kill and gets it. That's the problem with Leoric. He doesn't have any stuns or anything that he can do here. So down at the bottom of the map, that's where the party now continues. They're focusing on Varian immediately. And guess what? He doesn't make it. Okay, I stand corrected. I stand corrected. Tyrael YOLO's in alone. I kind of doubt this a bit too. Alexstrasza is not in the game. Zagara gets killed. And Arthas is dead too. Aggression, aggression, aggression. There is just one way for Team Ascendant, and that is forward. Nazeebo isn't even with them. He's all the way up at the top. And there's another kill as Varian just smacks them around a little bit. They nearly had him earlier, and then the coordination just wasn't on point. This is the one thing that can really lose the Parkas the game, if they don't coordinate their attacks. If they have good coordinated plays on isolated targets, or just simply the same target, they can pretty much eliminate everybody on the red team side. But if they don't do that, and they allow Varian, for example, to just be active throughout the entire fight with MEMEBLADEs, yeah, then you can get value out of MEMEBLADEs. The best tool against Varian in that situation is to focus him and drop him. So they can do that, but right now, they're still trying to get to Sergeant Hammer. And if they get any vision on the Sergeant, then this is going to be a kill. Sergeant Hammer can escape towards the top now, can't they? There's the Entomb, and yeah, that's the end of Yoka. Yoka is gone, nicely done. Sergeant Hammer eliminated. Kill number 7, and Arthas gets killed as well. They catch him, they take him down. Top side, Varian still attacking, attacking, and attacking. Completed his level 1 quest, obviously, already. We right now have 44,000 damage for Varian. I mean, good on him. Didn't even die. The attempt earlier by the blue team just wasn't coordinated enough to drop him. Now, structurally, we have the attack in the middle. Nazeebo gets killed again. That is kill number 9. And Varian is pushing them back. They gotta deal with him with stuns. They really should wait with Tyrael's Judgment for a coordinated attack and then maybe even use Imperius to lock Varian down. Varian is pretty easy to deal with when he goes for meme blades, but you still have to coordinate your attack properly. If you don't do that and you just let him do his thing, then he's just absolutely going to be demolishing the entire team. So yeah, that's something that you have to be very aware of. Maw already gets used. There may be a shot here if they want it. Ah, the BFG, nice. BFG comes in. The camp's still about to be taken. Syndragosa, and again, they're too spread out here. They're allowing Varian to do his thing. The attack not coordinated, and that's a problem. So Imperius goes down, Leo gets a quick entomb, but they gotta disengage. I have no idea why they're still trying to fight this. This is not a smart choice. They can try and get some damage into the backline, but they shouldn't be able to get a kill, and they're gonna lose more heroes the longer they stay here. So they are able to get out eventually, but both teams are now on level 16 talents, so you gotta be careful on this one. 27 stacks for Tyria. Well, we try to take the next camp here too. And Varian, he's getting value right now. Guys, level 20 is going to come eventually, and Nazeebo is the big issue. The Parkas have taken 2 forts out by now. They have still a slight lead in experience. Could go for the next objective. So far they haven't focused on it, but we're seeing Team Ascendant getting a bit emboldened as they're now going for structures at the bottom of the map as well. I think the blue team is just screwing themselves here. And if this continues, despite the fact that the red team is behind right now, I think eventually they're going to take this. The blue team just doesn't coordinate. Look, they are not coordinating their efforts. Look at this. Zagara gets attacked. Imperius tries and sets a kill up when nobody is able to do damage because everybody is either running away or focusing a different target. So now Zagara gets killed. After that, they don't have range damage anymore. Imperius is now alone, and Tyrael jumped in together with him. Didn't even use Judgment in the last fight and is now suffering the same fate. If they want to have a chance to take this down, they need to really call a target out properly and then make their approach. The red team is going to win this game. If the blue team is not getting their shit together here, the red team is going to take this. They went for a hyper-aggressive composition that can be countered by good coordination and just not simply YOLOing in on the first target that you see, but they really need to be on the same page, and they're absolutely not. They're absolutely not on the same page. That's the biggest problem that they're facing right now. Look at Varian. Varian can do whatever he wants. He's sitting at 68,000 damage and hasn't died once because even earlier, by the way, apparently the meme blades were even too much for the game itself. Varian, the one that disconnected here. But yeah, it's a huge problem. They decided to go only with a single range damage dealer. They decided Zagara is their only range damage dealer and they're playing a triple frontline. That's fine if you're then executing the triple frontline properly, but they're currently not doing that. When somebody like Arthas, for example, decides that he's now going to YOLO into the blue team and chases Zagara down slowly, what they gotta do is peel for Zagara a little bit and just take Arthas out. He doesn't have anything. There's no army, there's no defensive tools. The build that he went for is just damage, damage, damage. We got again the Remorseless Winter and the Shattered Armor here, but all that these guys are trying to do is kill them before they kill you. So if the blue team wants to have a shot there, they need to turn on somebody like Arthas when he goes too deep, punish him immediately, and then play the 5 versus 4. Right now, that's not happening. And Team Ascendant, they are playing to their strengths. They're splitting the team up a little bit. They go full divide and conquer on them. And it's working beautifully well. So, yeah. The Parkas, they're currently defeating themselves here. Good for Team Ascendant. Team Ascendant, if they get now to 20, they're ahead in experience, and have Nazeebo on Vile Infection, they can do a lot. Currently, it's not even the full final form that we have for the red team. So, this is going to get quite interesting once that Varian is back. Now, Varian managed the reconnect, and, well, or did he? Maybe he didn't. Whatever caused the second pause. I'm slightly confused what's going on here. Maybe somebody is a little bit trigger happy on the buttons, or yeah, something else is happening, but this was a little bit strange. Now, we have the attempt to go for Sergeant Hammer. The Entomb wasn't used, there was nobody close by. But this is really the moment where I want to see if the blue team used that pause to talk a little bit about how to deal with the situation. Because there's a lot of high priority targets on the red team, I totally get it. You have people pushing for Zagara, you want to take down Sergeant Hammer, you have Nazeebo to deal with, there's also Varian that you can't just let this thing. But they have the output here. So let's see what they can do with this. They're starting to set the trap here for Arthurs, who's low. They get Judgment in, and they drop him. Used a lot of resources for it, but they get the kill, and that was already an important one here. So pushing for the next structures, obviously. There's still an advantage through the forts that have been taken out by the blue team, even though it's now a bit diminished after Team Ascendant took down the bottom fort of the blue team. Ravenous Spirit already used, and the biggest worry is still late game Nazeebo. This is still where I think the game will go horribly wrong for the Parkas. Normally when you're going up against Nazeebo, you want to be... I mean, in an ideal world, you want to be in a situation where before he hits 20, you at least take a keep or two out. That would be nice. If you can take him out later, then hey, great, but let's see how this is going to work out. Then another fort gets sacrificed, again, for the red team. All they want to do is hit the late game now and play it out there. And they're going to get to level 20. Nazeebo has already hit his threshold. So now they go for Deck Arcane. He's dead too. This is exactly the kind of play that they need. Isolate a target, go for one target, blow it immediately up. But this might be a bit too little too late. Because, as I said before, once the Nazeebo is getting the big damage out, Malfurion will have a hell of a time healing all of that out. So level 20 now kicks in. Live Bloom is in. Pack Instinct. There's a lot of good tools that they now have with this. They can push for the top lane a bit, open up that wall, and maybe even make a step towards the next objective. But Team Ascendant, they're going to get Violent Infection right now, and that's when the party starts. So, Violent Infection about to be taken. Nazeebo at this point has 25,000 damage. Just as a little bit of a reminder, Nazeebo's at 25,000 damage, takes the quest. We have 70,000 already for Varian, and that gap is most likely going to be... There's the attack, and Varian is instantly dead. This is exactly what I talked about. This is the kind of play they need to make. Same target, call it out, make the play, drop him. They have no defensive tools. They have nothing. There are no defensive tools over there. Even Nazeebo gets nearly killed. Deck Arcane tries to save him, and Nazeebo falls. The blue team finally coordinating their attacks. Is it too late, though? They're going to get a keep here as a result, but is this too late? They're maybe even trying to push for the core now. Keep is about to be gone. They want Sergeant Hammer, not quite able to get him. And instead, we might even see Tyrael fall. It got close. But it's nice to see that the Parkas are actually finally, you know, getting into a flow here. Can they go for the core here? That's still a bit of a question mark, but it's a nice trap on Sergeant Hammer. Beautiful ult from Deck Arcane, and Sergeant Hammer survives. Tyrael is a bit low. Here comes the play against Deck Arcane. Where's the root when you need it? They don't even need to use one. And, there's the pause. Tactical pause confirmed. Varian dropped again. So he disconnected once more. Now, he was dead at the time already, but still, the timing obviously a bit unfortunate. So right now, the situation is Nazeebo dead for 14 seconds, 60 seconds until Deck Arcane is back. And now we have the core wide open. Can they end this here? I'm still a little bit curious about this. 14 seconds for Malfurion to get his ult back. That would give them a lot of sustain here. We have Tyrael still with Judgment, which is obviously quite nice too. But this is still a bit of a wild one. Nazeebo, again, he brought his ult in, and since then, or his level 20, since then he got 8,000 damage, so a lot. But they killed him quickly and took him off the board, and now the blue team is realizing, guys, we gotta do something. So they're trying to take that core out as fast as they can. But the problem here that they have is if they overextend themselves and get killed in the process, then Nazeebo is fantastic with that toad build that he used to take structures out. So they gotta be really careful that they're not getting wiped on the core here. So pressuring for it, totally understand it, but you might have to move back. Time will tell. But there is a chance that they have to call it a day at some point and just say, okay, guys, we're going to try this in the second approach. They made their own life a lot harder than it needed to be. We talked about this a lot and the reasons why. But at least after that earlier pause when Varian dropped for the first time, they started to coordinate the attacks better. And it's really, really paying off for them. All right, now the moment of truth. How are they playing this? They want to get some core damage in. Totally understandable. They got some time. Sergeant Hammer is moving in, and they're calling it a day. Alright, they're moving back here. They're just saying, alright, boys, this is not happening. Nazeebo is coming back. Sergeant Hammer is already difficult to deal with, so they're just simply moving back out. Now, the team is generally looking good. They looked way better in that short interim where they took the keep out at the top than before. But they're now up against an opponent that has a level 20 Nazebo that just continues to stack the baseline and will now get massive damage in, as already mentioned before. So let's see if they can coordinate the attacks well enough to deal with the situation or not. But it's not... this is not a lock for the Parkas. The red team went hyper-aggressive, and all they need is one good fight and then get Nazebo onto structures. Varian is a lot more cautious right now, but Leo alone is not going to be able to do anything here. They need to coordinate those attacks well. Top side, beacon control, we have it at 94%. Seems like they're going to get an easy protector. No, Varian is actually on the point, trying to take this. Yeah, and Arthur's is already low. I said it before and I say it again. Arthur's problem is still that he has no defensive tools at all. Gets instantly killed, and now it's about their control against Varian, who jumps on Imperius, but gets pushed back too. Now Nazebo, obviously, with still lots of damage, did another 5,000 in that fight already, and is really closing the gap between himself and Varian quickly. But the top damage dealer in the game by now is Sergeant Hammer with 91,000. It's a 5 versus 4 now, though, and there's still a fountain at the top lane for the Parkas, too. So they're really playing to their advantages as best as they can. Judgment! And the insta-play against Varian, and that's exactly what they need to do. Varian is dead. Nazebo is isolated. The Parkas finally making the plays that they needed to do way earlier in the game. Now they go for Sergeant Hammer, the Maw as a follow-up, and Sergeant Hammer will die as well. That leaves only Deckard Cain, and the old man is trying to waddle his way back to the Nexus, but he's in trouble too. Gets slowed by Leo, tries to escape. Here comes Judgment, and that's him gone. Team Ascendant about to lose the series here as the Parkas are finally able to get on the same page on the third game of the series. Very nice effort by them. Team Ascendant with hyper-aggression in talents and gameplay in Game 3, but it just wasn't enough. They are eliminated from the Underdog Cup as the Parkas move on to the next round of the tournament. GG.